Hello everybody and welcome! Justin from Playing Board Games here, and today I have my first Parallel Jim deck for all of you to see. If you don't know who Parallel Jim is, why don't we dive in and start there. So Parallel Jim, I have a link to my announcement video in the description, but Parallel Jim, 4-3-3-2 for stat line. As a reaction, after you reveal one or more skull or curse tokens during a skill test you're performing, replenish one charge on an asset you control. Limit once per round. That's cool, but his true parallel nature comes in on his backside, the deck building requirements, which is the Beyond. So the Beyond, we can see just down below his deck building requirement card, is it's a Bleak Netherworld. It's a permanent. Each attached spirit loses the printed traits and gains the Geist trait. When damage or horror would be placed on an attached spirit, it must be placed on Jim Culver instead. So your spirits can't soak, but they are in play. And when your turn begins, you attach the top card of the spirit deck to the Beyond as a spirit. If 4 or more spirits are attached, flip this card and resolve its text box. On the other side, you're going to need to reveal tokens for each spirit in play, and they're probably going to be discarded. That's kind of how it all goes. So the Elder Sign token is you may either heal a horror or attach the top card of the spirit deck to the Beyond as a spirit. Elder Auto Fail is discard the spirit and take a direct damage and horror. Skull token, discard this spirit, heal 1 horror. The Cultist Squid or a tablet or curse token, you must either discard the spirit or take 1 direct damage, and any other token, discard the spirit, flip this back to its asset side. So the idea is that you're going to have 3 spirits in play, and then you're going to get a 4th, and they're going to go away. You're going to have the text box of these spirits to do crazy things with, and then the spirits are going to be gone. And there also is going to be a weakness in your deck, the Vengeful Shade, a 5/2/5, who works very similarly to Patrice Hathaway's weakness, where he's going to be attached to your the Beyond, and you can fight or evade him while he's attached to the Beyond, and then if you fail, he is going to become engaged with you, and then you can just fight him and deal with him normally. Notably, he also has the Forced effect. When you attach a spirit to the Beyond via its Forced effect, Vengeful Shade attacks you, even if it is not at your location. So he's bad, and you want to be able to get rid of him. Jim also has some advanced signatures that you can see up there. I'm not going to be really talking about them because they're not dependent on the deck for the most part. But basically they can heal more depending on the token that's revealed. But the final Rhapsody is going to has a much higher damage and horror output for you. Going up back to his deck building, he has a spirit deck size of 10, and he can have 9 different ally assets from any class level 0 to 2 and Vengeful Shade. So you're going to have 10 cards in your spirit deck, and you're going to kind of just be cycling through them. So why don't we start with the spirit deck, because that's kind of where I started for this Jim deck. I went with a clue-getting Parallel Jim. So my idea was I wanted things that could boost my book, as you see with 4 of our allies here, and then I also wanted to look for allies that I could get rid of or had awesome enter the battlefield or enter play triggers. So Laboratory Assistant, Jeremiah Kirby, they worked very well for having effect when they came into play through the Beyond, and then either I got rid of them eventually, or in the case of Jeremiah Kirby, stayed around and also gave me some book for the meantime. I really like these effects. They're basically just a free draw 2 for Laboratory Assistant and a free draw a lot for Jeremiah Kirby. And then I also, as I was saying, I was looking for ones that had good battle enter play effects, but also were easy to get rid of. So Priest of Two Faiths, he has a lot of different things. He adds Blessed tokens when he enters play, and then he also adds Curse tokens, which synergizes with Parallel Jim. However, one thing that you're going to want to do with your Spirit Ally deck with Parallel Jim is you're going to want to keep certain spirits in play longer than others. For example, Summoned Hound is a very powerful spirit, and keeping him in play as long as possible is a very powerful thing. So that's why Priest of Two Faiths is really good, because he comes into play and then he goes away when you want him to. Same with the last 2 cards here, Mysterious Raven and Stray Cat. Both of them have a function which is just go away. Mysterious Raven, you can discard it and take a horror to discover or clue your location, and Stray Cat can automatically evade a non-elite enemy at your location. The idea with these ones is that as soon as you see them, you want to get rid of them. It does suck if you draw them as your 4th spirit, because you don't get to actually use your 4th spirit unless you know the way the token pulls for the Beyond play out. So with it's going to be unfortunate for that. There's a lot of luck kind of depending on how this goes. But if you see them as like your first, second, or third spirit, just get rid of those suckers. Summon Hound, as I said, is very powerful. And I think Summon Hound is kind of just an auto-include in any parallel gym deck. It's just, I think, the first spirit that's always going to make the cut. The effect is really good if you are a fighter, if you are a clue getter, if you are a flex. It's always good. Jeremiah, Kirby, Winning Green, Dr. Milan, Alice Luxley, they're all just plus book or plus brain and book for Winning Green's case. I did the upgraded version in my deck. And I was easily getting to 7 book with this and just grabbing a bunch of clues. On Saturday on the channel, I'm going to be releasing this deck in action, and you can see how the Spirit deck plays, and it's really cool. It's also a lot less complicated than it actually seems on the tin. It reads a lot, and there's a lot to read, but in practice, it's actually incredibly easy to play. So that's very nice. Let's go to the deck itself, and I can kind of talk you through it. Okay. All right, I'm ready. So I actually tried to, like I said, I felt like I was drawn to the clue getting gym for my first build of this, mostly because clue getting is a lot less stressful than fighting is. So with clue getting, you dictate the pace of the game, and it means that just generally being able to use your book value meant that with the allies in the Spirit deck, you kind of could just do what you needed when the opportunity came. Because if your book was high, you could just do Book v Shroud and, crush it. So Eye of Djinn here was to synergize with the getting to 5 for a test, and then you get all of your bonuses on top of it. That's also why Summon Hound is really good, because you go with a base value of 5 if we just go back. So it's a Fighter Investigate with a base skill, and then you get all of your bonuses on top of that as well, which is really nice. And it also has synergy with both the Blessed tokens from the Priest of Two Faiths and also from the Curse token from just Jim and Priest of Two Faiths. Notably, I actually didn't go too hard on the Curse tokens and trying to refill charges. As you can see, the only things that I actually have that have charges are the Grotesque Statue, which works really well with Jim's ability, obviously, because you can grab a Skull token. Notably, the Skull token's modifier is not 0. That is not carried over from original Jim. Parallel Jim just treats Skull tokens as printed. But you can still use them to pass the test, which is really nice with Grotesque Statue, because you basically just get the charge back. Same with Divination, just a way for us to expedite our clue getting process. But as you can see, there's actually just a lot of getting clues just doing it, right? Just by investigating. Jewel of Aureolus, card draw and resources for getting symbols, which is kind of what we want to be doing. Living Ink, the upgrades I have are just Macabre Depiction, which is after you reveal a Chaos token with a symbol, exhaust it to place a charge on it. Notably, the Living Ink also works with Jim's ability, and it's really easy to work with Jim's ability as well. So if you reveal a Skull, for example, you actually get 2 charges on Living Ink, and it just never goes away. I also chose Book because this is a Book Jim Culver. Alyssa Graham gives us +1 book, and I thought that I would want an ally that would stay in play to be from my color. So my always ally, Alyssa Graham, so not a spirit, I went with her, and she worked very well for that. Favor of the Moon, because you're not a curse deck if you're relying on just randomly drawing curses. You want to be able to control when you are drawing curses, and that's why Favor of the Moon should be an include in your curse decks. If you are saying you're a curse deck, you're going to want to be playing Favor of the Moon and not just crossing your fingers and hoping and praying to draw curse tokens. I have the Look What I Found here as to kind of act as our buffers for when we have the Spirit deck cycle. So if we go back to this again, when you have 4 spirits attached to the Beyond, you can essentially lose all of them. And you probably will. You should expect to lose all of them. Which means that as Jim Culver, our book is going to drop back down from 7 or 8 to 3 or 4. So it's one of those things that you need to have a plan, and that's where my Look What I Founds were for that, because the card's just really good. Notably as well, the card is also really good on high shroud locations. I really like Look What I Found. So Jim, as you can see, he has the 5. I'll just go back so you can see on this. Jim has 5, up to 5 other survivor cards, level 0. Deny Existence is just a really good card. It's just really good. So that's why I'm including it here. Explosive Ward. This I had in here to deal with the Vengeful Spirit on the Beyond. I think that if you're going to be playing Jim, you're going to want to have a way to deal with your weakness, just in case you do get it. And this turns it into a 2-action weakness that you kind of have to like also spend some resources for. But you want to be able to solve the Vengeful Shade ASAP. The card is absolutely just annoying as hell. And this is a way with Explosive Ward that you were able to do that. And it worked very well in practice in the video that I'm going to be releasing where I play it on Saturday. I'm going to just talk about Faustian Bargains, Stirring Up Trouble, and Promise of Power all at once, because those are actually our only cards that are putting curse tokens in, apart from our Priest of Two Faiths. Faustian Bargain gets us a bunch of money, which is good because Grotesque Statue, Divination, Jewel, and Alyssa are not cheap. Likewise, we're going to have a bunch of events that we want to play, like Read the Signs, and our Explosive Wards, which are also not, free. 0 to 1, I usually, those cards to me are pretty close to free. Not so much for cards that cost 2, 3, 4, 5, etc., etc. Stirring Up Trouble gets us clues, puts a bunch of curses in. This is kind of we're not going hard on curses or charges, but we have the tools to be able to take advantage of it. Promise of Power is just a really good card that also puts curse tokens in. Lucky, just a good survivor card. Perseverance is here because our weakness can deal us a lot of damage and horror, and this is a way for us to potentially say no to that. I will say that my test is this does on average about 3 damage in horror, which is a lot. And you actually can't soak with your spirits, so you probably just want to be aware of it if you are playing with the advanced side of things. Last card here to talk about in this deck was 2 copies of Read the Signs, and that should be kind of obvious why it's included. It's a very good clue-getting card in Mystic, and who would have thought that adding your brain to your book when your book is 7 or 8 would be really good at getting clues. So that's Parallel Jim. The deck was fun to play, the deck was very effective, and the deck brought the noise. I can see that Jim, actually if I just go back to the spirits, if we look at his spirit deck, a majority of them are actually level 0, right? So only Wit and Green, which you could still play the level 0 version and do fine with. Priest of Two Faiths and Summon Hound are the only things that actually cost a big amount of experience. Of course, your spirit deck may change depending on the people you were playing with. Like if someone wants to play Dr. Milan Christopher, for example, you can include Dr. Milan Christopher in your deck. Just be a good team player and take him out. Find something else. However, if no one is playing these colors, these are very good options for you to take advantage of. So yeah, it's one of those things that I actually think he will scale up really well with the game because he also just has a crap ton of free value out of his spirit deck. So even in the deck itself, there's a lot of things that cost experience. This is a 29 XP deck, even though it actually doesn't look it on the tin. Is it actually 29 experience? I have the link in the description, and I always build 29. So these ones are 6, so this is 10. This is 14, 16. This one is 19, 21. This is 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. I'm missing 2 experience somewhere, I think, or I just miscounted. But as you can, so it actually does, even though it doesn't really actually look it, it is apparently a 29 XP deck. I have the link down in the description. It's been a few weeks, notably, since I actually built this deck, so things have been wild. But yeah, you can see the deck in action. This Saturday, you can find a deck list to a non-Parallel Jim. It's going to say the deck is illegal. That's just because Parallel Jim wasn't on ArkhamDB when I made the deck. If you ever see that he is on ArkhamDB and that I need the deck updated, let me know in the comments. But you can see Parallel Jim in action this Saturday on the channel. If you want to join and see the deck building process, you can join our Patreon. That deck video just went live. The deck building actually when I built this Jim deck with all my thoughts and discussion. has just gone live on the Patreon. You can join that and join all these other awesome patrons as well who have, supported the channel and all of these videos. Yeah, you can check that out. Parallel Zoe is going to be coming soon. I'm going to have a deck video for her as well as the gameplay for Parallel Zoe as well. Parallel Zoe is also a really good time. Parallel Jim, though, is really fun, and I think that you should try exploring with him. I've seen a combat Parallel Jim, and it's also really cool. The only thing that I can confidently say with a solid reasoning behind it is that Summoned Hound is very good in Parallel Jim, and you should play it. Thanks for watching. Kind of lost my train of thought there at the end, so my apologies for that, but thank you so much for watching. Have a good one, and as always, a GG's.